Welcome to the top-rated Chinese supernatural storytelling program, Zhang Zhen Tells Stories. This program is a reinterpretation based on the original series by Zhang Zhen. Today's story revolves around the supernatural experience during sleepwalking. The contributor is from Urumqi, China. He is an employee at a multinational company, age 34. Now, I will recount his sleepwalking experience in the first person. This experience, even upon reflection, still fills him with confusion. I was born in Shanshan, Xinjiang. As a child, although I appeared big and strong, my body was frail. According to my mom, I often encountered unclean things. She said that every year around my birthday, I would fall ill. It would either be this pain or that discomfort. If you went to the hospital, no cause could be found. So, how was this problem resolved? My mom discovered a pattern. Whenever I fell sick, she would burn paper offerings at my grandmother's grave. She'd murmur some words, and my illness would go away. There was one year during my birthday when my ears began to hurt inexplicably. It wasn't caused by injury or swimming, but I was writhing in pain on the bed. Out of frustration, my mom went to the basement, grabbed the only photo of my grandmother, and smashed it into pieces. Strangely, I recovered immediately. Of course, what my mom said might sound a bit superstitious. But what's true is that I was indeed frail and often got sick as a child. My parents were busy with work and had little time to care for me. When it was time for me to start middle school, they sent me to a private school in Changji. This school was newly established and offered dormitories for convenience. From elementary to high school, all grades were included. The dormitory had 3 floors, girls on the 3rd floor and boys on the 4th. Unfortunately, when I arrived, the 4th floor was fully occupied. The dormitory supervisor arranged for me to have a single room on the 1st floor. There was also another first-year student who had been placed with older students due to space issues. Since I came along, he was assigned to share the room with me. Why did the supervisor make this arrangement? Because the 1st floor was almost empty, except for the dormitory supervisor's room near the entrance. The supervisor worried that I'd be scared staying alone on such a long, empty hallway. The 1st floor was designed as follows. Right after entering the main door, there was the supervisor's duty room on one side, and a staircase leading upstairs on the other. A long hallway extended to the left, lined with dormitory rooms on both sides, all unoccupied. At the end of the hallway was a staircase leading to the basement, blocked by a large iron gate. The gate had a padlock and was made of iron bars, forming a grid pattern. Standing in front of it, you could see a dark staircase leading down into an endless abyss. Our room was the one closest to this iron gate and adjacent to the basement. That night, I clearly remember chatting with my roommate before bed. We were lying in our respective beds, discussing which teachers were strict and what had gone missing in class. Then, I dozed off. What I'm about to share next is what I experienced while sleepwalking. My senses during sleepwalking were unusually clear, so much so that these impressions remain vivid to this day. It started with a sound. I heard someone calling out to me, "Hey, hey," followed by my name. In my sleepwalking state, my awareness was almost like that of a fully awake person. Curious, I sat up and looked around, trying to find the source of the voice. But I couldn't see anyone, only hearing the voice of a little girl calling my name. It was distant and hollow, clearly not from my roommate. I asked, "Who are you? Where are you? Why can't I see you?" The girl replied, "Do you know where the basement is?" I said, "Yes, it's right next to our room." She said, "Good, I'm in the basement, come find me and play, okay?" I agreed and got up. Before leaving, I glanced at my roommate, subconsciously worried about waking him. I opened the door and walked into the hallway, heading toward the basement. The iron gate blocking the basement was a familiar sight, as I passed it daily. It had a padlock in the middle, But this time, the gate and staircase had vanished, replaced by a wall. Shocked, I thought, where did the basement go? Where is the gate? I walked up and down the hallway, searching for the basement. Everything else was as it should be. Dorm rooms on both sides, the main entrance, the supervisor's duty room, and the stairs to the upper floors. But the basement had disappeared. At this point, I started feeling cold, which made sense as I was only wearing shorts. Shivering, I hurried back to my room to get under the covers. When I reached my room, I found the door locked. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't open it. At this point, panic set in. I was desperate to get back inside. I shook the door handle with all my might, shouting, "I'm cold, let me in, let me in." Just then, I felt a force pulling me away from the door. The force was dragging me backward, trying to take me further from the room. I was terrified, almost to the point of breaking down. I clung to the door handle with all my strength, crying out for help. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't resist the force. Slowly, I saw my hand loosening its grip on the handle. The next thing I knew, my body was being dragged backward. And then, I blacked out. When I regained consciousness, I heard a voice waking me up. It was a woman shouting, "What are you doing? It's the middle of the night. Stop messing around." I opened my eyes and found myself standing in the hallway, wearing just my shorts. The dormitory supervisor was standing beside me, scolding me loudly. In an instant, I understood what had happened. The door I had been shaking earlier wasn't the door to my room. It was the iron gate to the basement. The handle I had clung to wasn't the door handle, but the bars of the iron gate. As for the force pulling me back, it was actually the supervisor dragging me toward my room. But in my dreamlike state, I had seen it as me being pulled away from my room. The strangest part of all was how clear my mind was during the whole experience. Even as I realized the truth about the gate and the door, I was still in a sleepwalking state. I didn't respond to the supervisor or acknowledge her scolding. Instead, I walked slowly back to my bed, shivering, and crawled under the covers. Before falling asleep again, the last thing I heard was the supervisor continuing to scold me. The next morning, my roommate asked me what had happened the night before. He said he was woken up by the sound of me shaking the iron gate and shouting. He was so scared that he didn't dare leave the room. Shortly after, he saw the supervisor drag me back into the room. The entire time, he was too frightened to make a sound. He said he couldn't sleep well for the rest of the night. This was the only time I've ever sleepwalked, and it happened 18 years ago when I was in middle school. Whenever I think about this experience, three things continue to puzzle me. First, throughout the entire sleepwalking episode, my awareness was unusually clear. I could think rationally and even realize that I was shaking the basement gate, not my room door. But I was still asleep. Is this a normal state for sleepwalking? Second, from a supernatural perspective, could it be that there were two forces battling over me during this incident? One trying to lure me into the basement, and the other trying to stop me. Third, and the question that lingers the most, was there really a little girl in the basement behind that iron gate? Thank you, Freud Harton, for sharing your experience. To be honest, your vivid recount of your sleepwalking state has left us all deep in thought. It makes me wonder, was your sleepwalking triggered by anxiety about a new environment? Or was it something more mysterious?